Oh, it's been a while. I know we didn't go live over the weekend as promised, but luckily there was no peaky promises. I actually lied. I think I did say that. But for now, Lord of Mysteries, chapter 499, with our new best persona. And eventually, in this stream, we're going to be hitting the new major milestone, chapter 500. So thank you to all the new people that have been liking, commenting, subscribing, joining our little live streams here and there. And for now, Lord of Mysteries. All right, next chapter, Provoker. I will not say any lies this entire stream, thank you. Oh, actually, hold on, that was his first lie. What I won't lie is that we won't stall. Wait, was that a double negative? Hey, you know what I mean. So we're not stalling. We're not stalling. We're not stalling this stream. Chapter 499 is called Solicitation. I read that right? Wrong? No? Okay, hopefully we don't stutter right away or lose our place. The gold coin quietly flipped up, thumbled down, and firmly lay in the... Are we recording? Yes. And firmly lay in the palm of Klein's hands. Lowering his head to glance as if it was heads or tails, Klein spun his heel and smoothly turned into a quiet, dark alley. The wind... I thought we were... Oh, we're not on the boat yet. Yeah, I forgot. We were at the bar. Lowering his head to the glance as if it was heads or tails, Klein spun his head and smoothly turned into a quiet, dark alley. The wind by the seat was cold and strong, and it caused a convection in the air, propelling his coat up without him realizing it, and causing his half-top hat to almost fall off. Suddenly, Klein stopped, turned around, and said in a deep voice, "Come out." His eyes were sharp as he stared at the shadow around the corner. After 4 or 5 seconds of silence, a figure emerged from the shadows. He chuckled and said, "Very sharp." It was a man in a black coat, approximately 30 years of age, and his eyebrows were charred yellow with his dark blue eyes were bright. His face wasn't too chiseled, as though he was from this area south of Intis, Lemberg, and Cigar. As soon as he saw him, a picture flashed in Klein's mind. As he entered the Flying Fish and Wine, he had professionally looked around for anyone he needed to pay attention to. The answer at the time was no. The man that... I'm already out of it. The man had been drinking like a sailor and watching curiously from the side. He was no different from the other guests, and his appearance wasn't distinctive, but his black coat had left a certain impression on Klein, allowing him to recognize the person who told him in an instant. "What do you want?" Klein, who was maintaining his persona, bent down slightly like a huge feline ready to pounce. The man in the black cloak laughed once again. "The fighting technique and handling method that you displayed just now was very consistent with my taste. I chased after you to ask if you're interested in joining us, although that guy named Logan was indeed pretending to be an informant of Lidwell. White Shark Hamilton does have connections with many pirates. He's a character with a shady background, so definitely take your act of beating up one of his men at the bar to heart. There will definitely be problems for you in the future, and I can help you resolve this problem." That's what I've been saying, dude. You love LTM so much? I know, I'm loving it, dude. You're an adventurer. I'm loving Volume 3. I think Volume 3 is a strong start so far. You're an adventurer, so it's necessary for you to have dreams of treasure. As for us, we're people who band together in a bid to seek treasures such as the Spectre Empire, Solomon's Inheritance, the Secret of the Fountain of Unaging, the Death's Key, the Sunken L'Oreal, and the Roselle's treasure while traveling the 5 seas. Today, although we haven't accomplished any of our main goals, we found many missing pirate ships. Heh. Who said, oh my god. What I said does sound like what that rat had said, right? He cleared his throat and said, "Frankly speaking, we're a band of pirates formed from a group of adventurers, but we only plunder merchants and passenger ships when we're especially poor, and we don't harm the innocent. Our main focus is on..." Hold up, this is a good group. "Our main focus is on finding treasures, and we often reap harvests. And I kid you not, I once slept on a bed formed of gold coins. If we run into any other pirate ships, just showing them our powers wins us some compensation. By the way, our captain has decreed that before we recruit new people, we have to explain our creed and remuneration." I can't even say that word. "Creed, your captain is a little interesting." Klein deliberately softened his tension to see if the enemy would take the opportunity to attack. The black cloaked man smiled in a relaxed manner. "What I said previously was our creed, and now let me talk about our remuneration. I'm saying this word wrong. It's remunition. This fellow is quite confident, although he wasn't a spectator. Klein could tell that he was very confident that he was completely unfazed by the scene in front of him. "We don't have any weekly salaries or annuity, but once we find treasure or obtain riches from plundering, they'll be distributed according to our ranks. Under normal circumstances, when our luck is still pretty good, the lower ranking sailor can earn about 200 to 300 pounds a year. I heard that this would make one a member of the middle classes on land. Heh. If we find the sunken laurel and all of us will become tycoons. Wasn't that the name? That was the name of the gang, right? In Volume 2? The Tycoon Gang? All of us will become tycoons, the black-cloaked man casually introduced. According to our ranks, we would get different days off every month, but they can only be accumulated together and done in a staggered fashion. As he spoke, he suddenly cursed softly. Dog shit, just a year before we miss a good chance of finding the Spectator Empire because Captain was on holidays. Pirates have annual leave. Klein found it somewhat surprising. That's what I'm saying. Like, they have annual leave? He could only feel the pirate crew's comedic intensity from the man's description, reminding him of the humorous Somali pirate recruitment advertisements he had seen in his previous life. Seeing that Klein appeared shocked by his words, the black-cloaked man added with a smile, "As an adventurer, are you still chasing after the powers that transcend nature as told in legends? As long as you join us, you'll have a chance to possess them." Having said that, he coughed and said, "I forgot to introduce myself." His expression turned solemn, no longer looking as jocular? I've never said that word in my life. As he was before. I'm sorry, it's a Vice Admiral recruiting him? Vice Admiral Iceberg Edwina Edwards subordinate. Oh, 4th boatsman of the Golden Dream Blazing Danitz? After repeating his title, real name, and identity, Danitz waited patiently for the look of panic and fear to appear on Klein's face. After a second, he heard the adventurer, who acted somewhat crazily despite looking refined and polite, say in a low voice, "Blazing Danitz with a bounty..." No freaking way. Danitz? With a bounty of 3,000 pounds. Don't tell me he's going to turn him in. With a bounty of 3,000 pounds. Danitz was about to reply when he had the illusion that the man standing in the dark alley had turned into an indescribable, hungry monster, salivating over his soul and flesh. He suddenly clenched his fist, his body no longer as relaxed as it was before. He was so tense that he was trembling slightly. His intuition told him that he was facing an abyss filled with madness and bloodlust. In this state, Danitz had... You can pronounce it Danitsu if you want. I don't know if that's real or... I don't know if you're trolling me, Unhinged. Danitz, he had no idea how much time had passed until the other party spoke again. "Why are you here?" "I'm on vacation." He's scared, dude. He's actually scared of Klein. I'm on vacation. Blazing Danitz's dignity made him scorn to answer this question, but his instinct made him spit out the reason. As soon as he finished speaking, he felt the man retract his gaze, the hunger to gnaw on his flesh and soul disappearing. He stood where he was and watched as the young adventurer in a black coat and a silk top hat turned around and walked to the other end of the alley. He stopped when he was about to turn the corner, and turning his head, he asked, "Where's the white shark?" He lives at 1C Wall Avenue, but he spends most of the time on the second floor of the Flying Fish and Wine. It's no different today, Blazing Danitz answered truthfully. Only when the figure disappeared into the distance did Danitz straighten his back and take off his cloak. What a terrifying fellow, he sighed silently. 3,000? Barely. Following that, he found his thoughts and muttered to himself, "I have to inform Captain..." I thought I said Captain. No, that was the other guy. "Captain, that there's another terrifying person at sea. This is a guy who looks like a gentleman on the outside, but he has a heart like a lunatic's. If one doesn't have the determination and confidence to kill him, it's best not to deal with him." Ain't no way they're hyping up Klein this much already, dude. We're barely like 10 chapters into this volume. Danitz pulled up his black cloak's hood and decided to return to the hotel for some sleep. He planned to wait until the telegraph office opened the next morning before relaying the message to his middleman contact in Rorstead Archipelago. As for what happened to White Shark, he didn't care at all. In the corner of another quiet street, Klein stood in the shadows, looking down at the black glove on his left hand. He found that although creeping hunger had been sealed by Mr. Zik, its thirst for flesh and soul still instinctively existed and was trying to manifest itself. Under normal circumstances, I wonder if like the aura that like Klein gave off also came from creeping hunger. Klein natural aura farming? Yeah, I know. I'm seeing something recurring this volume already. He is going to be aura farming a lot. But I'm wondering if like that bloodlust also came from creeping hunger, right? Under normal circumstances, Klein wasn't worried about the sealed item would produce any problems. But when he had the urge to kill someone, the corresponding influence he would receive was enough to let the hunger which could lash back at him animate. Early when he heard that Dantes was a famous pirate on the bounty list, killing intent instantly rose inwardly out of his yearning desire, causing creeping hunger to become as active as a fish in water. Oh, it was creeping hunger. God, yeah, it says it right here. causing the creeping hunger to become as active as fish in water. Fortunately, Klein always had good self-control in this aspect. He's not gonna have good self-control at one point. Something's gonna happen, and like creeping hunger is gonna take over. From his words, he was able to judge that he wasn't a pirate who was riddled with sin, so he easily restrained his impulse. With creeping hunger, GEHRMAN Sparrow persona will be flawless. Flawless. Klein, this is so hype, dude. Klein paused for a few seconds, took out a gold coin, and performed 2 divinations. First, he divined if Blazing Dantes was lying, and second, if White Shark Hamilton was able to cause harm to him. So, well done. The first revelation showed that there was no need for Blazing Dantes to lie, and the second one showed that White Shark Hamilton was unable to cause harm to him. Klein put away the gold coin, pressed down his hat, and while doing so, he swept his palm down and touched his face. He instantly changed his appearance, blonde hair, blue eyes, and ordinary facial features. Then Klein unbuttoned his overcoat and pulled up the inner shirt so that it was no longer stuffed in his trousers. After a simple change of his attire, Klein, who didn't carry a cane, began sweating. His lips were dry as he identified the direction and headed back to the Flying Fish and Wine Bar. On the way, he met Blazing Dantes again. The man only glanced at him once before withdrawing his gaze and headed for the hotel opposite of the bar. After inspecting the bounty wall, Klein calmly reached out with his hand, pushed open the door, and walked in. At that moment, it had been less than 10 minutes since he escaped. In the bar, most of the customers had disappeared, but there were still a lot of drunkards gathering here to watch the show. Oh. Their eyes swept over the new guest, but they all withdrew it soon after, and Klein made his way unimpeded to the bar counter. He saw the bartender standing with threatening eyes beside a fat man, his forehead heavily bandaged with white bandages, his nostrils stuffed with tissue paper, and his face was... Is this him? Is this the aftermath of him just beating him up? Hunter music next chapter? But all right, you let me know. You let me know when to play it, and we'll switch to it. Hunter music next chapter. He saw the bar. Wait, hold up. Is there really a fight already next chapter? Really? Damn. That's kind of hype, dude. He saw the bartender standing with frightened eyes beside a fat man, his forehead heavily bandaged with white bandages, his nostrils stuffed with tissue paper, and his face was bruised. The fatty was tall and big. That's kind of mean. The fatty was tall and big, his skin was fair, and he looked like a big white shark that had swum itself ashore. He touched his shiny bald head and said to Ellen, who was wearing a dark red jacket and a straight sword, "Someone told me that you know that guy?" Bro. There are only 3 passenger ships that dock today, so there won't be many unfamiliar outsiders. Don't try to lie. Ellen patted the hilt of his sword and smiled casually. Yes, he is my passenger. But the problem today clearly stemmed from your people, so I just want to come back here, apologize... So I just want him to come back here, apologize to me, and compensate me for the damage done to the bar. The tall, big-sized white fatty said with a frown. Hell no, he ain't gonna pay. Wang? Is that his name? Or Wag? Wang? Ellen laughed and said, "White shark, I have a proverb from my hometown. Don't hate wild dogs that pass by because of these rats in the storehouse." Just Ellen, is this your answer? White Shark Hamilton narrowed his eyes. Ellen gripped the wooden handle on his musket, took a step forward, and said with a deep voice, "Yes, this is my answer. Captain sure has his ways of doing things," Klein said, slightly surprised at Ellen's response. After staring at each other for a few seconds, White Shark Hamilton took in a deep breath. "You've helped me before, so I don't need an apology. However, he must compensate half of my losses, and you will be the one to pass them on." "Good suggestion," Ellen smiled. White Shark Hamilton's face darkened as he looked around. He suddenly threw out his hand, slapping the bartender in the face. The bartender flew out. All his teeth dropped to the floor. What did the bartender do? Bro, what did he do to him? Klein quietly watched from 5 meters away, as if nothing had happened. Klein's like, not my business. As if none of this had happened. I love GEHRMAN. I love GEHRMAN Sparrow already. Klein quietly watched from 5 meters away, as if none of this had anything to do with him. I love it. I love it, dude. GEHRMAN Sparrow, bro. I'm loving this character. All right. Chapter 500. This is gonna be good, dude. As I'm literally updating our new milestone live on stream. Beautiful. Interrogating. No way Mr. GEHRMAN Sparrow is gonna beat him up and interrogate him. Because this chapter is called Interrogating White Shark. Bam! The bartender fell to the ground, withering in pain. White Shark Hamilton snorted and didn't say anything. He turned around and walked towards the second floor, stepping on the creaking wood stairs. After the excitement was over, the drunkards dispersed one by one. Unaffected, Captain Ellen and the others returned upstairs to continue playing cards. Klein took the opportunity to follow. He returned to the flying fishing white, not to deal with a white shark who didn't pose any threat to him, but rather simply to get more information from the owner of the bar, who was connected to many pirate factions. After all, he had named his new identity GEHRMAN, which secretly implied hunting pirates. We're 35% done with LO to him. So we passed the 1/3. This is so cool, dude. Oh, I lost my place. I'm sorry. He returned to flying fishing white, not to deal with a white shark who didn't pose any threat to him, but rather to simply get more information from the owner of the bar, who was connected to many pirate factions. After all, he had named his new identity GEHRMAN, which secretly implied hunting pirates. I like it. He's hunting. Implied hunting pirates whose hands were stained with blood. He planned on using their souls, flesh, and beyond characteristics to replace the souls and creeping hunger who were awaiting their release. It's going to be such a good volume, bro. This is going to be such a hype volume. There was no gas in Demir Harbor, and the corridor of the second floor was relatively dark. The brass candle stands that were inlet into each wall flickered and dimmed. Klein observed the surroundings as he wiped his face, silently transforming into one of the bouncers on the first floor. He used illusion creation to compensate from his mismatched attire. After finishing his preparations, he walked towards a room that his spiritual intuition identified and belonging to the White Shark Hamilton. He first passed the card room, but he didn't attract anyone's attention. He stopped in front of the bouncers, who were guarding the corridor, and said in a low voice, "There's something going on downstairs again." It's gonna be good. Faceless is pretty OP. There's still another 12 months of content? Bet. It's gonna be fun, dude. Yeah, it took us about 6 months or so. Not easy. Got to finish Elusive this year. We'll see. We'll see how far we can get. Don't forget, we lost, like, we know I started in November, but we technically lost like 2 months of reading progress because I was like pretty sick for a while, and then my whole trip thing. So we did lose like 2 months of reading time. So from November, technically it's been like 6 months of reading. Okay, so sorry, before I keep stalling, let's keep reading. He first passed the card room, but he didn't attract anyone's attention. As I'm reading this, let me reread this part. There's something going on downstairs again. Holy Lords of Storms, what's happening tonight? A bouncer sighed. I hope those... the bouncer's so over it. I hope those beautiful people don't get hurt. Another guard said wordly. He was referring to the people who got their business in the bar. Okay. Their fine climbed step past the bouncers and knocked on White Shark's door. Who is it? Hamilton wordly asked. Boss, it's me. Something happened downstairs. Downstairs again. Klein, remember the information? Dude, I'm loving Faceless. Faceless is basically an influencer with... That's such a funny analogy. Change the music now? Okay. All right. Music change. All right, hold up. This is getting kind of hype. I'm a little out of it today, but I'm so fucking hyped. Are you guys ready? All right. Wait, I lost my place. Oh my god. Oh my god. My voice literally cracked as I'm saying that. I'm getting a little too excited. All right. When he closed the door, let me find my place. Oh, I'm dumb. I scrolled down, so we're at the top. Who is it? Hamilton Worley asked. Boss, it's me. Something happened downstairs again. Klein remembered the information he gleaned while watching the commotion and deliberately hoarsed his voice. Damn it, Hamilton bellowed. Wait, I did read this. Hamilton bellowed, come in and explain to me what happened. Klein turned the doorknob and walked in. Hold up, the music's kind of loud on my end. Sorry, it's going to be kind of hard to hear, at least for a little bit. When he closed the door, he dispelled the illusion, and the muscles on his face rapidly squirmed, returning to his previous identity. A new customer with blonde hair, blue eyes, and ordinary facial features. You. I love Faceless. This is so cool, dude. What cosplay? Hamilton was stunned for a moment before he immediately opened his mouth wide in an attempt to shout loudly. At the same time, many illusionary fish scales surfaced on the back of his hand. Oh, it's creeping hunger. Here, I'm sorry, is he gonna take him? Is he gonna take Hamilton? Wait, what the fuck? Wait. At the same time, many illusionary fish scales surfaced on the back of his hand. His originally large and fat body... Oh, this is Hamilton. His fat body burgeoning. Suddenly, his heart began to beat faster, and a strong, instinctive fear... Oh my god, I can't read. Seized him by the throat. At this moment, he felt the stranger standing by the door was a demon that had been starved for many days, repeatedly examining his flesh and soul with ice-cold craving... I can't read. This is too hype. Hold up, we're loading. Repeatedly examining his flesh and soul with an ice-cold, craving look in his eyes. All of a sudden, White Shark Hamilton was gripped by an extreme panic and he failed to effectively respond. Klein slowly walked to the sofa and sat down. He politely smiled. Now, can we talk calmly? The feeling of being stared at by a horrifying monster suddenly disappeared. Hamilton relaxed all of a sudden while his body shriveled up a lot like a punctured balloon. He didn't rashly cry for help. He's gonna cry for help? He didn't rashly cry for help as he asked with beads of sweat linning from his forehead, "Who are you? What do you want?" "A hunter," Klein answered casually. "I heard that you're connected to a number of pirate factions. I would like to know their respective situations." "No, I'm not." White Shark Hamilton subconsciously denied. He immediately felt the extreme hunger again, and he felt as if a man's eyes were dyed with a dark red layer. Klein inwardly deliberated over his persona and said with a gently smile, "You have two choices. One is to answer frankly. The second is to be killed by me and then answer honestly." Bro. Killing to channel my spirit. White Shark Hamilton had heard of similar rumors. He swallowed hard and asked, "Why do you want to know about any of this?" Klein smiled and answered, "I'm a hunter, so I'm chasing after bounties." No fucking way, dude. Klein smiled and answered, "I'm a hunter, so I'm chasing after bounties." Hamilton, this is so cool, dude. I am loving Mr. GEHRMAN Sparrow, dude. Hamilton suddenly felt that the man's polite smile was tinged with an indescribable madness, and he couldn't help but blurt out, Are you mad? I've seen many similar adventures, but all of them have been buried at the bottom of the sea. It's not hard to kill a lone pirate, but you can defend against any further retaliation. The people in the bar or the seemingly ordinary customers might all be pirate informants. Your friendly accomplice could be bribed at any moment and you'll be shot in the back. That pirates will gather information in advance and surround your ship. Can you protect all the passengers? Can you survive a cannon bombardment? On the sea, dude, the sea is crazy, dude. On the sea where there's no room to run, how are you going to survive? After venting the horror in his heart in one breath, he saw the man who called himself a hunter reveal a gentle, kind smile. Just have them all killed and there won't be such a problem? Shut up, dude. A true madman. Truly a true madman. White Shark Hamilton immediately took a deep breath and said, I am in contact with many pirates, but it's a passive relationship. They need to sell the cash, jewelry, and goods that they plunder in exchange for alcohol, food, fresh weapons, and women's comfort. This had to happen through me, but I can only wait here for them. I don't know where their ships pass or where they're going. What else? Klein asked calmly. His reply just now was mainly to scare White Shark. After having revenge sought on him by the pirates, he wasn't worried at all. As a faceless, he might as well find a place to drown himself at the bottom of the sea if they could find him so easily. And White Shark Hamilton's throat moved without immediately giving an affirmative or negative description. He tightly closed his mouth and looked at the gentleman in the half-top hat. The gentleman's eyes were calm and reserved, and as though madness was brewing within him. The uneasy silence was like the calm sea surface before a storm, gently resounding, colliding, and fermenting. Finally, Hamilton shifted his gaze away from the place in his hand on the desk in frustration. Yes, I'm still gathering information from them, and if there's any urgent information, I'll use the radio transceiver, and they gave me... I forget they can communicate long distance now. That was revealed at the end of Volume 2, right? That they can communicate, at least like through like a telegraph or something. Oh wait, I lied. They have a radio. I literally just read this. I'll use a radio transceiver they gave me to alert them. White Shark didn't dare to take the risk and was afraid that the man possessed unique beyond her powers. They could determine if he was speaking the truth or if he was saying the whole truth. Radio transceiver. Klein, who had succeeded in laying his bed, sharply caught onto a noun. That's what they call it when speaking to me. It's like a telegram, but it doesn't require a wire. Hamilton turned and walked over to the grave safe and squatted down. A wireless telegraph? How is it wireless? A hunter must hunt. Yes, indeed. The pirates possessed such advanced technology, Klein could vaguely guess what the radio transceiver was. He had previously thought of inventing... He thought about this? He had previously thought of inventing something like this, but when he flipped through the relevant magazines, he realized that the wireless telegrams had long since appeared. However, it hadn't found its place in the commercial world. The Berserk Sea, which separated the northern and southern continents, with its constant thunder and lightning, the chaotic magnetic field, and violent storms, made only a few sea routes accessible. Even if one was equipped with wireless telegraphs, they were almost useless. Similarly, the weather in the Fog Sea and the Sonia Sea had changed drastically, and there were a number of factors that affected the electromagnetic transmission The use of wireless telegrams have been severely restricted. Could it be that there's an enhanced model that could solve some of those problems? Klein watched as White Shark pried open the flood plank in front of the safe and twisted a mechanism to reveal a secret door in the wall. Behind the secret door was a hidden cabinet with 3 levels. On top of the level were some documents and bills, a revolver, a new type of half-arm gun, and other weapons, while bottom layers was filled with complicated black machinery. With just a glance, Klein deduced from his previous life's impression and the information he had gathered previously that the mechanical construct belonged to a radio transceiver. That's what they call it. It's called a radio transceiver. The news it transmits can be received by similar items as far as a roasted archipelago. Any further, and all depend on whether one's luck. Usually it's very troublesome and limited. Hamilton didn't know much about the machine, and he was vaguely describing the corresponding situation based on experiences using it and what he had been thought. It's better than the new radio transceivers that are now being commercialized. I wonder who invented it. Klein quietly listened and asked, who are they? He made himself look like a bounty hunter who didn't understand technology. White Shark Hamilton wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and said, Silver Coin Viper Odor, that's a mouthful. Silver Coin Viper Odor, who claims to serve the owner of the Dawn, as well as the intelligence officer of Admiral of Blood, Old Quinn. They appeared together, and I can't be certain if they're working together. Of course, Otter had always only made claims. The owner of Dawn, the Queen Mystic. Klein looked away, a gold coin appearing in his hand. He's gonna make some really strong enemies, dude. I can sense it. We're gonna be going up against some pretty strong admirals this volume, huh? The gold coin kept weaving between his fingers before finally leaping into the air and landing. Its left White Shark puzzled as he trembled in fear and trepidation. Lowering his head to take a glance, Klein slowly stood up. At this moment, he suddenly asked, who gave you the potion? Old Quinn. Hamilton hesitated but still chose to answer honestly. Klein nodded and no longer asked. He turned and walked towards the door. Thud. The wooden door opened and closed. The figure wearing a black cat coat disappeared from White Shark's room. Hamilton held his breath, waited for more than 10 seconds, and finally let out a long sigh. He quietly wiped the sweat off his face, placed the radio receiver on the desk, flipped through a... Oh, he's going to get killed right here, huh? Code book and hurriedly sent a telegram into a distance. I was targeted by an unfamiliar fellow. Come on, dude. Besides the completely engrossed Hamilton, Klein had his hands in his pockets and he quietly watched, taking in the entire frequency spectrum and the passcodes. His departure just now was a large-scale magic show, more than enough to deal with a low sequence beyond her like White Shark's sailor pathway. Oh, he was only a sailor. White Shark's sailor pathway. As for the question of whether or not he could be able to remember the details later, a seer didn't need to worry over it. A dream divination was enough to recall everything. Admiral, I wish I can just do that whenever. Just remind you, Klein is using the coin yeah, he's using the coin divination. He's beating his Luffy's ass. Yeah, that's why he's doing this with the coin now. So he's hiding the fact that he's a seer. You're just reading words right now. I can tell. No. He's used... Wait, what do you mean? He's just interrogating him. He's just interrogating him, and he's using the coin divination to see if he's telling the truth or not. And he can't really use a seer divination, because then he's going to give off who he is, since he's GEHRMAN Sparrow. As for the question of whether or not he could be able to remember the details later, a seer didn't need to worry over it. A dream divination was enough to recall everything. No? What do you mean, no? No? Klein just called the Church of Storms on his butt? No, he didn't. When did he? Wait, is it because he took his he took all the info? What? Oh, wait. Oh, what the fuck? He said I was targeted. Wait. What? No, Klein made an illusion. Don't listen to Unhinged. Oh, I actually believe them. Like, no, Klein made an illusion showing him leaving. That's why White Shark did the telegram. In truth, he was just in front of him watching everything. And that's how we got the code. Besides the completely engrossed Hamilton, Klein had his hands in his pockets and he quietly watched, taking in the entire frequency spectrum and the passcodes. His departure now... Oh, that's what it meant by magic show. His departure just now was just a... I thought he meant like he was... Since he was acting and it was like a magic show, he's technically... You know how he's technically still a magician, so it helped him digest? Okay, hold up. I read that wrong. Sorry. We were gone for like 3 days. His departure just now was just a large-scale magic show, more than enough to deal with a low sequence beyond her like White Shark Sailor Pathway. As for the question of whether or not he would be able to remember the details later, a seer didn't need to worry over it. A dream divination was enough to recall everything. Admiral Blood and his men enjoy killing and love blood. They're passionate about enacting violence against women. Every time they rob a passenger ship, they would always cause a tragedy. This is public information known by everyone, and they themselves are proud of it. They're never stingy with their proclamations. They target of the hunt and the risk involved. I'll give priority to them. Client. Oh, he's gonna take him out. So he's doing that to lure him out. Yeah, it's kind of it's been. I'm trying to get used to this new template. Let me read from here. I'll give priority to them. Client thought for a moment, then prepared to leave the room while Hamilton tidied and put away the radio transceiver. He didn't plan on dealing with White Shark for the time being, and he was afraid of disturbing the real prey. Anyways, this kind of fellow who was on land was a fixed territory, could easily be dealt with a letter since he had dirt on him. Klein's soundless footsteps caused the door to slowly open and quietly close, bringing in a slight cold breeze. Just like that. Perhaps a monocule would do well. Maybe we should use a monocule on stream. It'll probably help us read and, you know, and enhance. Chapter 501 is called Bait. After sending out the and I'm already messing up British thing. Oh no, I don't know if I have access to British websites. After sending out the telegram and cleaning up the desk, White Shark Hamilton relaxed completely. He was finally in the mood and had the ability to think about the details of what had happened to him. The first question that popped into his mind was, what about the bouncers outside? He propped himself up with both hands and walked heavily to the door. When he opened it to take a look, he found that several of his men were standing there, unsteadily telling each other jokes involving women. You can cosplay Audrey because Klein is faceless. If you cosplay Audrey, you are in reality cosplaying two characters. Yo, what the fuck, Romero? That's smart. That's a 2-in-1 cosplay right there. I'm Klein as a faceless. So I'm Klein cross-dressing as a Audrey, right? Or just I'm Klein acting as a faceless by using Audrey's disguise. That is a deep. That is like deep lore behind the cosplay. All right, I'll keep that in mind, Romero. After sending out the and he's also cosplaying Rosago. Let's keep reading. After sending out the telegram and cleaning up the desk, White Shark Hamilton relaxed completely. He was finally in the mood and had the ability to think about the details of what just happened to him. The first question that popped into his mind was, what about the bouncers outside? He propped himself up with both hands and walked heavily to the door. When he opened it to take a look, he found that several of his men were standing there, unsteadily telling each other jokes involving women. Hamilton's anger rushed to his head, but he soon calmed down. The muscles on his face twitched slightly and he pounced on the open door. Thump. The bouncers were startled and he swiftly turned to look at the door. Boss. Seeing who was making the sound, they hurriedly stood there and stammered. White Shark took a deep breath and asked, did you see anyone enter my room? Yes, Lardero. He said that there was a situation downstairs. The bouncers were confused by the question. Boss, you were the one who let him in. As soon as they finished talking, they suddenly thought of another explanation and asked, Boss, was something inside stolen? Hamilton's expression sank and he shook his head. Don't doze off. Thud. He drew back and closed the door, leaving the few bouncers puzzled as they exchanged looks, suspecting that their boss was drunk in the room. The tall, fat Hamilton frowned and started pacing back and forth. Lardero. They saw Lardero. There are a lot of new names. Lardero. They saw Lardero. That guy can change into someone else's appearance. As a collaborator who helped pirates sell their loot and gather intelligence, White Shark Hamilton was no stranger to all sorts of sea rumors. The first thing he thought of was a former pirate, Admiral Quillingus, who... No way! Is he gonna be like the new... Like, don't tell me his name is gonna spread just like Quillingus. He's gonna be like, oh, it's the new Quillingus. Oh, it's gonna be so hype. The first thing he thought of was the former pirate Admiral Quillingus, who had said to be capable of turning into anyone. However, he quickly made some more connections. It might not be his mystical ability. If it really is close to the description of the rumors, illusions, cues, and mental manipulation can also do similar things. Huh. There's something amiss. The fellow appeared refined and gentle on the outside, but inwardly mad and has terrifying strength. With the character he showcased, he should have knocked unconscious or killed anyone who had seen him before strolling to the door and very politely knocked on the door. If it's to avoid creating a huge commotion so as to not leave behind too much information or exposing secrets related to a sequence, then he could have used a more covert method like climbing through the window. Very contradictory. There's only one explanation for his contribution. He was putting on an act. Was he disguising his personality or disguising it? No way they deduced this. Was he disguising his personality or disguising his strength, or both? When he thought of this, Hamilton suddenly stopped and put all the details together. That guy is a novice. His madness is a disguise. His strength is demonstrated by relying on some mystical item. Yes, that must be it. So they're going all in on the whole creeping hunger thing. This can explain the contradictions. He didn't climb up the wall and enter through the window because he's a low sequence beyonder, and he isn't good in such aspects. The focus of his mystical item isn't in his domain. In order to successfully enter my room, he was willing to lower his head and address me as boss, because he was purely relying on the mystical item. He wasn't too confident about himself and doesn't have enough pride and madness. He acted like a madman so as to match the mystical item's effects of generating horror in others. He created pressure to ask for information. No way, bro. Smart and still got slammed? Exactly, dude. This can also perfectly explain why he left just like that. The reason why he came to find me is because he obtained such a powerful mystical item. With his elevated ambitions, he wants to capture and kill some pirates to make a fortune. Once he knew that I'm serving Silver Coin Viper Odor, and Admiral Blood's intelligence officers, Old Quinn, to the point of being involved with the Queen Mystic, he got scared and fearful. So he chose to leave after acting perfunctorily. He didn't dare to kill anyone. The more Hamilton thought, the closer he felt to the truth. He hurriedly set up the radio transceiver again and flipped through the passcodes and added a telegram to concisely describe his theories. He didn't believe that he was able to be targeted by a hunter because everything that had happened was a result of the inflated ambition of a young man who simply had a fortuitous encounter. He's literally thinking all this. Literally, he came up with this entire scenario with just one confrontation. He also gave the corresponding characteristics of the target: blonde, blue eyes, not crazy, and even a little timid. Possesses a rather mystical item that might allow one to change their appearance and create illusions. In consideration of the sense of horror, the latter is more likely to be true. He's just a novice who doesn't have much experience. He's specializing in mimicking a powerful aura with the help of items. He knows a thing or two about me, and he didn't look like an outsider who was in the mere harbor for the first time. Tap, tap, tap. Hamilton stopped his fingers and leaned back in his satisfaction, his chair creaking under his weight. The corners of his mouth curled up a little as though he had already seen the ending of that bastard from just now. It wouldn't end well for a fellow with a very low sequence. Despite possessing a powerful mystical item at sea, many greedy sharks would rush towards him. When the time comes, I'll no longer have to worry about my problems being exposed. Under the night sky, the harbor was rather quiet. After leaving the flying fish and wine, Klein made a detour in the distance. He first walked quietly before moving slowly, his pace gradually turning into a stroll. When he was sure that no one was following him, he turned his face back to the GEHRMAN Sparrow. As he passed through the shadows, he stuffed the hem of his shirt into his trousers. He adjusted his sideburns and took out his gold-rimmed glasses, placing them on the bridge of his nose. I'll give him a coldness despite his refined appearance. He began to rely on the stars to find his way back to the White Agate. As he walked, he let out a soft chuckle. Amidst the cold wind, he leisurely thought, I hope White Shark isn't that foolish and is able to see the flaws I left behind. That's literally what he just did. The persona he had set up tonight. Oh, wait. So Klein deliberately left vulnerable, vague cues because that's GEHRMAN Sparrow. Wow. The persona he had set up tonight was of a new adventurer who lacked experience and made mistakes. So he purposely made mistakes. And this person, on the hand, knew a lot about the mirror. Harbor and White Shark, he had a... That's so wild, bro. Fucking... Literally, thank you, Bullseye. He's literally 15 steps... Oh my god, I can't read. I can't even speak. He is so smart that he purposely made his character kind of dumb. Not dumb. He's so smart, he purposely made his character act like a newbie. He's literally acting as a Smurf. Like, well, not a Smurf. Hold up. Not like the blue Smurfs. Like, he's genuinely using a Smurf account. That's literally what he's doing. He's literally still using a new Smurf account. Harbor and White Shark, he had a tempting mystical item on him which had messed with his mind, making him a little crazy deep down. Klein's initial idea was that the pirates would wander around the ocean and even the Navy... Hold on, we got the Navy up in here? He's literally trolling them. And even the Navy would have a hard time finding them. If he could get more accurate information from White Shark, he could have, of course, go straight to them. If it didn't work, his identity could be used as bait to lure some knowledgeable pirates to the predetermined location to complete the initial hunt. When it was discovered that White Shark could contact Old Quinn, the intelligence officer of Admiral Blood, Klein's plan was completed. His acquisition of the passcodes and the frequency spectrum had allowed him to monitor the corresponding situation and grasp the target's movement. Then, by interfering with the divination of others, he could at most Then, by interfering with the divination of others, he could at most appropriate time use a combination of hiring a powerful mystical item and being a weak adventurer as bait to catch a number of big fish. So he's trying to switch out Creeping Hunger ASAP, bro. That's wild, bro. He's trying to quickly, like, switch out the souls in Creeping Hunger. Now, the problem I have is that I don't have the equipment to monitor their communications. It's basically impossible to buy at sea. I'll have to use the world's identity to get Miss Justice or Miss Magician to buy one in Backland. I'll receive the delivery via a sacrificial ritual. This is the advantage of the Terror Club. With that in mind, Klein sighed. Seeing the white gate inside, he quickened his pace a little and found that Donna's family and Cleves were returning from another street. Cleves greeted him by nodding his head, just like when they officially met. He said in a low voice, "I heard that there was trouble at Flying Fish and Wine." Very well informed and rather familiar with the Demir Harbor, Klein smiled and replied, I only taught two cheats a lesson." Cleves' brows twitched slightly, suddenly feeling that his impression of GEHRMAN Sparrow was a little wrong. After his previous observation and interaction, he felt that although the young adventurer was a bit sharp, a bit reserved, and a bit cold, he could still be considered someone who smiled, was polite, and knew when to advance or retreat. But now he was a bit uncertain. He felt that there might be a hidden flame of madness hidden in the recesses of his heart. At this moment, Donna's father interrupted. "Mr. Cleves, who is this?" "A colleague, GEHRMAN Sparrow." Cleves introduced in a very simple manner. With a polite smile, Klein extended his right paw. And look, he's being all sophisticated, dude. He's fishing with tempting baits. He is, dude. Yeah, he's pretty good. "It's my honor to meet you. In the future, if you need anyone, if you can't find Cleves and the others, you can consider me." "No problem. I hope you're as strong and professional as them." Donna's father shook his hand with Klein with apparent warmth and introduced him. Urdi Branch. I cannot read that word. Klein had just released his grip on the box when his spiritual what's in the box? Have you guys seen that movie 7? Klein had just released such a good movie. I was literally rewatching it over the weekend. Yeah, and he's like, "What's in the box, man?" People make fun of that scene, but then other people praise that scene. I feel like it's 50-50. Like the acting was very specific in that moment. He quickly activated his I skipped a line. Klein had just released his grip on the box when his spiritual perception was triggered. He felt that there was something strange inside the gift box that branch servants were holding. He quietly activated his spirit vision and discovered that the gift box contained strips of curd meat. However, the surface of the curd meat had very rich colors and red, white, and black spots. They looked like they were things from the spirit world. This is a typo. They looked like they missed the word like. They looked like they were things from the spirit world. There's the aura of the spirit world, but they're practically harmless. This cursed meat is very special. Klein was surprised. Noticing his gaze, Donna's father laughed and said, This is a specialty of Demir Harbor. In the center of the island, there's an extinct volcano. There are a few cracks in the surrounding underground caves with a natural hot wind blow. Curing meat there allows the meat to gain a wonderful and unique flavor. It can be used as gifts for a friend. Mr. Sparrow, if you wish to buy some, it's not too late. Unique flavor. This man really is going to be tasting new food, huh? Unique flavor, the taste of the spirit world. Klein had a rough idea of what was going on. According to the theories of mysticism, the spirit world completely overlapped with the reality without interfering with it. What? One hand to rely on the strength of a beyonder to open up a gap. So those were the cracks from the volcano? But this wasn't an absolute situation. There were places in the world which had the spirit world being strong enough to slightly influence reality. In such regions, it was very easy for the dead to turn into water ghosts, zombies, and the like. There was also a non-trivial possibility that residences in such areas would have paranormal activities. A similar situation should have occurred in the interior of Demir Harbor's underground caves, but it's not serious and doesn't cause any abnormalities, only giving the cured meat a unique flavor. There wouldn't be any problems if one doesn't eat too much of this in one sitting. I'm sorry, so what happens if you eat too much? Klein responded with a smile. I'm not interested in curd meat. Only at this moment did he finally confirm that the curd meat that the bartender had previously served him was ordinary and nothing special. So that meat was safe. Klein the foodie? At this moment, the little boy Denton pointed at the moon in the sky and said, "It's so very red." A blood moon? Yes, Donald nodded in agreement. Very red. Very red. Klein looked up and saw that the red moon was no different than usual. Because a child's spirit is relatively pure, he temporarily possesses a certain spirit vision powers after being tainted with the spirit world's aura after eating such curd meat. What? Would the children on this island be in a similar situation had this might be the source of Demir's harbor folklore? Klein observed for a moment and found the answer. The group strolled back to the ship, moved up the gangway, and arrived on the deck. Klein bade them farewell and went to the second-class cabin. Suddenly, his mind stirred, and he once again activated his spirit vision. He saw that a huge skeleton messenger appeared in front of him and dropped a letter. All right. Oh, wow. We just finished the chapter. Perfect. Chapter 502. What? Azik? When was he set up in this chapter? Wait, hold up. Chapter 502. I didn't even see it when I copied and pasted the chapter title. The scene in Azik's memory. I'm sorry, are we gonna get a memory through creeping hunger? And then is my theory, like, actually correct? Klein stretched out his hand and caught the slightly heavy letter. Oh, never mind. We literally talked about the messenger at the end of the last chapter. Duh. Klein stretched out his hand and caught the slightly heavy letter. The large skeleton messenger didn't stay and immediately disintegrated into the fountain of bones. One bone after another fell to the deck and disappeared as though it didn't want to stay a second longer. With the letter firmly in hand, Klein didn't lower his head to examine it. Instead, he instinctively turned around and looked at the wooden staircase leading to the first-class cabins. He saw Donna and Denton with their eyes wide and mouth agape, so they wanted to scream at the sights of the scene, but everything they saw was over before they could make a sound. As a result, they even wondered if they were hallucinating. The children who eat the special curd meat in Demir Harbor gain temporary spirit vision to a certain degree. Klein's brows twitched slightly as he raised his left-hand index finger vertically and placed it against his mouth to silence the two young ones, just like he did while the Murloc hunt was happening. Let me skip this song. The already rather tall Donna immediately raised her hand and covered her mouth. She nodded in fear and excitement, indicating that she had understood. She understood. When she looked diagonally down, she saw that her brother was still in a daze. She quickly grabbed his arm and pushed his hand against his mouth. Cleves and Cecile sensed that something was wrong with them. They stopped and looked at Klein, but they discovered nothing. Facing their stares, Klein calmly nodded and continued walking to his room. A gold coin had appeared in his hand without anyone realizing. It was tossed up and then tumbled around as though it possessed life. Ding. The gold coin landed with a number facing up, indicating a negative result. This meant that the tiny episode wouldn't be determined to Klein. Seriously, he got the letter? Wow, that's kind of loud. Hold up. Wow, that's actually loud. I lost my place. Seriously, the current messenger isn't polite at all. It's not like the previous one who would tap my shoulder or nudge my body to give it an advance warning, or just convert my surroundings into a spiritual world to prevent ordinary people from seeing him. Klein lampooned as he... What date is it today? Oh, it's the 12th. Never mind. We're good. I lost my place. Or just convert my surroundings into a spiritual world to prevent ordinary people from seeing him. Klein lampooned as he took out his key and opened the door. He sat down on the edge of the low bed, lit a candle with only half its length remaining, and opened Mr. Zik's response letter. As he pulled out the items inside, the first one that caught his eye was a black emperor card. Looking at the face, which pissed him off, Klein let out a... What, because it said Roselle? We're getting lore? Alright, let's find out. Looking at the face, which pissed him off, Klein let out a breath of relief and eased his worries. He wasn't afraid that Mr. Zik wouldn't return into him, as if he had the minimum level of trust. After all, the potion form and corresponding rituals could be copied, and only the convergence properties of high-level materials couldn't be imitated. So you can mimic everything except the... And only the convergence properties of high-level materials couldn't be imitated. Okay. And since this was clearly not a Zik's pathway, nor was it one of the switchable pathways available to him, so a powerhouse like him had no need for it. Oh. Oh, it's an Ultra Kill reference? I've played very little Ultra Kill. So I actually didn't catch that. Thank you for pointing that out, Ebby. I never would have caught that. Clang was worried that the messenger would be robbed, losing the card of blasphemy, which would help him tremendously while in his spirit body state. This wasn't impossible. The number of strange creatures in the spirit world was hard to count, so it isn't hard to end up having a few who were good at locating messengers and robbing them. The Black Emperor card was returning along with the copper whistle from the numinous Episcopate. After temporarily putting away these two items, Klein unfolded the important letter and read Azik's reply. That card that depicts the Black Emperor reminds me of certain scenes. The tall as a mountain Blood Emperor who wore a red cape with his eyes being abnormally crazy, containing almost zero reasoning. He was on the brink of losing control. There was there was a true Black Emperor who had just revived. He sat on a gigantic throne overlooking the land. Wait, okay, hold up. Let me reread this. This is really hype. That card that depicts the Black Emperor reminds me of a certain scene. The tall as a mountain Blood Emperor who wore a red cape with his eyes being abnormally crazy, containing almost zero reasoning. He was on the brink of losing control. There was the true Black Emperor who had revived. He sat on a gigantic throne overlooking the land. When I looked up at them, I lost consciousness when the Blood Emperor looked at me. Hype? Dude, this is good. I should have in some form participated in the War of the Four Emperors, but the exact details still require me to recall them. Perhaps it was because of an injury from back then that caused me to lose my memories again and again, and I repeatedly died and reawakened. So these are Azik's memories, correct? Wow, that's kind of loud. Let me lower it a bit more. The legend of Death's treasures trove in the Berserk Sea doesn't ring any bells. Perhaps I'll be able to sense something and naturally be attracted to it when I travel to the southern continent by boat and pass through the sea. Bro, this is sick, dude. I'm telling you, I really feel like he was like him. Azik was part of the War of the Four. Dude, it's like, wait, the Four Wars was... That was more than 1,400 years ago. Oh my god, what the fuck? How old is he? So he's older than 1,400 years old. I'm sorry. Wait, that's new lore. It was presumed that he started... Wait, no. It has been established. So, no, wait, hold up. This hasn't been established. Wait, no, yes, it was. War of the Four Emperors took place, and the two remaining people was Death, and then Death teamed up with the Demoness, and they brought about, like, the Pale Era. And then after the Pale Era was the Fifth Epoch. I'm sorry, what the fuck? When was Death killed? Fuck. I'm still updating my notes. Hold up. Wait. Not the Four Wars. War of the Four Emperors. Got it. That was after the war, bro? Yeah? Okay, hold up. My timeline is kind of slipping up a little bit. Okay, we're good. The legend of Death's treasure troves in the Berserk Sea doesn't ring any bells. Perhaps I'll be able to sense something and be naturally attracted to it when I travel to the southern continent by boat and pass through the sea. The experiences of the owner of the copper whistle resemble that of an undying ritual, but there are also clear differences. I can sense evil auras and the premonition of dangers. I believe that the owner of the copper whistle is in a strange and terrifying state. Death died at the end of the Fourth Epoch, which is the Pale Era. I remember that. I remember they brought about the Pale Era, and that was the Fourth Epoch. That was Death. Death was at the tail end of the Fourth Epoch. And we know that Azik is presumed to have started at the beginning of the Fifth Epoch. Old Man Eggers, where is his jade, beautiful granddaughter to become part of the Klein harem? What? No, Klein is not going to have a harem. Hold up. Wait, hold up. We gotta chill. This man is stealing off his heart. He's going home. The only love and affection he has is to his siblings. But in like a sibling way. Because he loves and cares for them. That's it. That's all the love we're gonna get. Because I do not want to get attached to a character that he falls in love with and then that character dies. And so that is not gonna happen. So there's no need for a harem to be built up in the first place. So let's keep reading. It's a brain rot meme. Oh. Okay, good. Let's keep it a meme because I don't want to get attached to more people. The experiences of the owner of the copper... I just read this. It's best that you don't blow the copper whistle and summon a messenger. This will bring extreme danger. We can make further attempts when I fully recover my memories and figure out what the experience really means. The feather left behind by the copper whistle owner that you mentioned can be used in the domain of the undead. It's a unique material that's rich in spirituality. When I recall more, I organize the knowledge of some rituals and charms you can use with it for you. Speaking of this matter, I recall that you'd asked me about the method of ridding the men. Oh, I'm sorry. Is Azik gonna reveal it? I recall we have a very specific sequence 5 mystical item that we can use. I recall that you'd asked me about the method for ridding the mental corruption of a beyond characteristic. This will likely I will likely need more time. At the very least, I'm still a blank slate in this aspect. Also, I vaguely remember that in the southern continent there's a strange creatures called Feathermen. It's best to seal that card, otherwise it might attract powerful enemies and many disasters. I can give you some techniques. This isn't too difficult. First, an improved wall of spirituality. As expected, the card of blasphemy has a convergence effect upon activation. It's a good thing that I've left it above the gray fog in the past. According to Mr. Zik's description, he shouldn't be an amnesiac deaf, otherwise he wouldn't have looked up the Blood Emperor and the Black Emperor. It's likely that he's a son of death. We've been saying descendant for like 500 chapters, but now we're saying he was one of his sons. It's likely that he's a son of death, participating in the War of the Four Emperors by accompanying that deity. Unfortunately, he suffered from severe injuries. That is so... I fucking love Azik, dude. That is so cool, dude. He is such a hype-ass character. As he thought, Klein produced a flame and burned the letter. Then he tried the sealing technique and practice what Azik had taught him in the letter. After doing all this, he held a ritual and brought the Black Emperor card and numinous... Oh, my nose is stuffy. And the numinous episcopate copper whistle into the mysterious space above the great fog, eliminating all possibilities of any accidents. There is no doubt that Klein had no wish to suddenly meet the king of the five seas Nast at sea. Yeah, no, we want to stay away from him right now. A legit prince? Literally the Prince of Death. Early in the morning, the sun rose above the horizon and died in golden. Clank went to the not so well stocked second class buffet cafeteria and ate 2 slices of toast with bacon and butter and drank a cup of lemon tea. By the way, thank you guys for like just hanging out with me right now as we're reading. After filling his stomach, he went to the deck to breathe in the fresh air and enjoy the beautiful early morning scenery. Then he saw a drunk Captain Ellen returning, his straight sword swaying. Thinking back to last night's incident, Klein came over and said with a smile, "Good morning. White Shark didn't cause you any trouble, right? He should be able to determine that I'm a passenger of the Whitegate." Dressed in a dark red coat, Ellen took off his ship-shaped hat and laughed. "This is his own problem. Actually, he wanted you to pay half the repair fees for the bar counter, but it isn't much. It's just a few solely. I happened to win £6 last night and gave him some extra tips, and that's what was the end of it." Oh, look at him helping out. Azik. What is that? A Nepo? I don't even know what that is. Troubalum? What does that mean? "Captain, are you afraid that a crazy adventurer like me will blow the whole thing up just for the sake of face? So you ended up choosing to bear the compensation." Clang was silent for a few seconds. "I understand." Then he turned and walked back to the boat, leaving 2 soft words, "Thank you." When Klein returned to his original position, he felt the sea breeze blowing against his face. He slowly let out a breath, feeling that it was too goddamn hard to force his persona. He slowly let out a breath. So this is hard. It's hard for him to act as Mr. GEHRMAN. Feeling that it was too goddamn hard to force a persona. After enjoying the wind for a while, he was about to return. Oh, hold up. He didn't say he was going to stop. He's just saying it's hard. After enjoying the wind for a while, he was about to return to the cabin when 2 figures suddenly appeared beside him. They were Donna and Denton. Cecile, who was in charge of protecting them, was a few paces away. Donna has obviously not slept well last night. Her eyes were puffy and her face was gloomy, but she was in high spirits. She was obviously imitating Klein's taking in of the scenery, but her eyes were darting around nimbly. Just as Denton was in a similar state as her, wanting to speak, she spoke first. "Uncle, who was that last night?" Oh. I didn't know that, D. Thank you. Thank you for the info. As she spoke, she looked ahead without turning her head, but her body was trembling slightly, as though she was recalling the scene she had seen. "It was a messenger. You can think of him as a postman." Oh, what the fuck? She saw him. Wait. She saw the skeleton. She saw the messenger. As she spoke, she looked ahead without turning her head, but her body was trembling slightly, as though she was recalling the scene she had seen. "It was a messenger. You can think of him as a postman." Klein also didn't look at the two kids as though he was talking about what he had for breakfast. Messenger. Denton almost lost control of the volume of his voice. The world is so huge, so there's bound to be some strange creatures in the world. Trust me, although this creature looks very ferocious and terrifying, it's actually very gentle and professional. It just sends me a letter on behalf of a friend who's far away. Klein explained slightly, trying to describe the 4-meter-tall messenger as pitiful, weak, and helpless. I literally just caught that. When did the kids see that? I don't remember them seeing him. Bro, you're trolling? No freaking shot. I just caught that. On the full, I am not trolling. I literally just caught that. I don't remember that reveal when we first started this. Well, like when we first... Bro is actually black. Bro, look. We read, but we didn't read. Wait, we read, but we didn't digest. Oh my god. We acted, but we didn't. Oh, no, hold up. Yeah, we read, but we didn't digest. Face slap, I'm sorry. As you can tell, I have not been in the mojo this volume. I apologize for that. No, it's not that. I literally just missed that. We read, but we didn't digest. There were like 4 walls of text describing how they were scared shitless and Klein telling them to shut up. You did join up at a perfect time. LMBR. Oh man, I apologize, man. I'm telling you, I lost my mojo this volume. I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know what's been going on since we started this volume. I've been low-key out of it, man. We will get our bearings back. We will get our bearings back. I apologize. Messenger. I read this. After a night of panicking because she hadn't been harmed in any way. I find that funny though. He basically told him to shut up. Fucking Paul. That's a funny ass explanation. He basically just told him to shut up. All right, let me find my place. After a night of panic and because she hadn't been harmed in any way, Donna was much calmer. Her eyes lit up and said, "Well, that's amazing. It's like listening to a story. Very cool." Denton also expressed his opinion. Then he puzzledly asked, "But why didn't anyone else see it?" No one had any response. Your head is filled with Expedition 33? You know what, Zach? I think you're right. Hold on, let me pause the video so we don't drag out the video. But yeah, you're right. That's because your hearts are pure, Klein smiled. This was a white lie. After all, he couldn't just say that it was a problem with the special cured meat. That would only make the curious little fellows fail to resist making attempts. This way, ignoring the fact that ingesting large amounts of it would cause one to fall ill, just randomly having spirit vision activated was a very dangerous matter. Even though Klein could now sustain the consumption of his spirit vision for a long period of time, he ultimately didn't dare to keep it open. Sometimes seeing things he shouldn't have seen could lead to madness or death. That is true. Can we have a messenger of our own? Donna asked curiously and excited. That will depend on your luck. Klein answered simply and calmly. He couldn't help but lampoon inwardly. I don't even have a messenger of my own. Like, I'm literally just borrowing this one. In order to obtain a messenger, he had to design an accurate summoning ritual and prepare the corresponding Spirit World creature contract. I'm sorry, are we setting up our own messenger this volume? This was a specialized field of knowledge, and randomly doing so could easily summon something bad, so Klein didn't dare to recklessly try it. Yeah, Donna looked forward. You know what, dude? His messenger is gonna be like the octopus tentacle things. That has to be it, bro. That has to be it. Then she said in a tiny voice, "Uncle, we'll keep this a secret for you." Beside her, Denton nodded solemnly. At this moment, a new passenger that intended to board a new passenger. At this moment, a new passenger that intended to board the Demir Harbor carried his suitcase as well onto the deck. After sending the telegram, Blazing the Nits considered that Captain might instruct him on certain matters, so he decided to cut the holiday short and await orders at the capital of Rorsted Archipelago. Through his own channels, he had obtained a ticket, put on a wig. He has a wig. Like tentacles. That's gonna be his messenger. Like an octopus, right? Or like some crazy ass, like Loch Ness monster, like Cthulhu looking thing. Why, hello there, Mr. Moneybag. Literally, it's either filled with money. Well, we'll see what's in the suitcase. After sending the telegram, I find this funny. He's wearing a wig. He put on a wig blackened his eyebrows, and easily boarded the white agape, waiting for the liner to blow its whistle. Sigh, as Emperor Rizal said, capable people always had to do a little bit more work. As the Nits walked towards the cabin, he looked around leisurely. Suddenly, he saw a familiar figure. It was a young adventurer in a black coat, gentle in appearance and mad in nature. He was standing on the bow of the ship, beaming at him like a gentleman. The muscles in the Nit's face began to stiffen. Oh, he's scared, dude. Oh, he is scared of Klein. Oh, it's gonna be good. Yeah, I think you're right, Romero. From him running away from people to now having him run... I get you. Klein has come a long way. We went from him running away from people to having people run away from him. And this chapter is called Hostage, so... I don't know what's gonna happen right here. But chapter 403... Whoa, we regressed. Chapter 503 is called Hostage. Discovering a pirate who was... Oh, so we are killing him this chapter. Yeah, we're gonna stream for like 2 hours. Yeah. Discovering a pirate who was worth 3,000 pounds boarded the ship in disguise, Klein immediately felt worried. He smiled to Denton and Donna, who were beside him, and said, I've got a friend. He calmly walked towards the Vice Admiral Iceberg's fourth boatswain, locking his eyes on the other party. The smile on blazing Dante's froze from when he saw the young adventurer with crazy blood flowing through his veins slowly approach. He suddenly had a thought. Run. Run as fast as you can. Do not harm him. I thought we're gonna... Wait, hold up. We don't technically need to kill... He's only a sailor. So it's like... We don't need... hold up. We can get rid of the faceless ability and just have like a weak Sequence 9 sailor ability. So we'll see. We'll see. That or he... Oh! Klein is gonna make his own pirate crew, and Dunitz is gonna be the first crew member, bro. Oh shit! He's gonna be the first crew member of Klein's new pirate crew. What's his team gonna be? Yeah, he was sailor cooking, bro. Wait, hold up. We're gonna be called not the Nighthawks. That's too on board. Not Blackthorn Security Company. It's gonna be something in reference to like Volume 1. He is unknown as of now. Wait, so who was the one that was sailor? Oh, all I know, man, we're sailing the high seas with a pirate crew, man. This is gonna be sick. As I'm trying to find my place. Discovering a pirate who was worth 3,000 pounds boarded the ship in disguise, Klein immediately felt worried. And sorry, I thought White Shark's real name was him. Sorry, sailor was White Shark, the owner of the bar. My bad. For a second, I thought he boarded the ship. I thought the Nits. No, different name. My bad. Different people. I mixed that up. All right, are you guys ready? He smiled to Denton and... let me reread this again. Discovering a pirate who was worth 3,000 pounds aboard the ship in disguise, Klein immediately felt worried. He smiled to Denton and Donna, who were beside him, and said, I've got a friend. He calmly walks towards the Vice Admiral Iceberg's fourth boatswain, locking his eyes on the other party. The smile on the blazing Dantes froze when he saw the young adventurer with crazy blood flowing through his veins slowly approach. He suddenly had a thought. Run as fast as you can. Do your best to escape. Even if I have to use my beyond powers and expose my identity, I have to fully immediately. In his eyes, a reserved and stern adventurer was a genuine monster draped in human skin. Just as the Nit was about to make his move, he suddenly calmed down because he remembered what happened last night. An adventurer hadn't attacked him and had allowed him to leave. That is to say, he doesn't necessarily have the hostile intention of hunting me down. He can be reasoned with to resolve his crisis. Directly running away would only lead to conflict. Thoughts ran through blazing Dennett's mind. Relying on his rich experience, he forcefully controlled his legs and appeared to wait in place. Klein walked over one step at a time as well. Good morning, we meet. Good morning, we meet again. The gentle and courteous smile of his made the Nits shudder for some inexplicable reason. He pursed his lips and said, Good morning. Klein maintained his persona. His expression turned cold. What are you doing on the ship? Heading to the Rorsted Archipelago, blazing the Nits, who was also considered a famous pirate, answered honestly. Why are you heading there? Klein calmly asked. The Nits forced a smile and said, waiting for our captain's orders. Perhaps there will be a mission arranged for me. He's probably going to chase me off the ship. In any case, there's a potential risk to have a pirate board a ship. After he finished speaking, the Nits speculated about the possible developments. For him, this was considered a pretty good result. At most, he would waste a ticket. Klein fell silent, so silent that the Nit's hair stood on end. It was a full 5 or 6 seconds before he spoke again. Which cabin do you live in? Bro, he's just interrogating him, dude. First class, room 312. Danitz raised his ticket in his hand to the eye level. He didn't dare to look down for fear that the enemy would seize the opportunity to launch a surprise attack. Klein nodded indiscriminately. Is there a servant room? Yes, Blazing Danitz subconsciously answered, but his heart was at a loss. He had no idea what the man was posing such questions at him. I read that wrong. Poor guy. I feel bad. I low-key feel bad for him now. I thought the reason this chapter was called Hostage was because he was going to take a hostage. I think it's the other way around. I think Danitz is Klein's hostage this chapter, which is kind of funny. Then he heard the man say to him in a flat tone like he was speaking to a subordinate, "You'll sleep there." "Ah, where? I'll be sleeping in the servants' room. Aren't you going to chase me off the ship?" Danitz was somewhat stunned as he blurted out, "Why?" Klein glanced at him and said with a faint voice, "Hostage." Klein's not in danger? Yeah, he is the danger. No, because I thought he was probably going to take like one of the kids as a hostage and be like, "Hey, you got to let me go." And Klein was like, "Ah, shit, what do I do? Do I act as GEHRMAN or not?" But yeah, no, it's the other way around. They should be scared of him. Hostage. He's worried that I'm a planted agent on the ship, making it easier for the pirate fleet to plunder the White Gate, so he plans to use me as a hostage. That's reasonable. If it really is as he suspects, then it wouldn't stop the pirate fleet's attack, even though I've chased off the ship. It's better to hold me hostage to aid in the negotiations. Dog shit. I hate this kind of arrogant, cold person who doesn't say much. They always only say a word or two, or even just an utterance, leaving me to guess the rest. If I'm really not his match, then I wouldn't even mix with such company. Why did I purely think that his temper matches my taste? I must have been mad. Danitz gritted his teeth as he thought. Fine, he exhaled helplessly. To your cabin. Klein maintained the perfect GEHRMAN Sparrow persona. Few Blazing Danitz carried his suitcase, reluctantly leading the monster draped in human skin to the cabin. They went to the upper deck and arrived at room 312. After opening the door, Klein took a quick look and found the place several times better than the second class. The living room was about 30 square meters and was connected to a master bedroom and 3 servant rooms. It had a separate bathroom, a standard wardrobe, and a mahogany desk. Danitz put down his suitcase and glanced at the servant's room. He suddenly thought of an important question. Is the master bedroom going to be left empty just like that? The moment he finished speaking, the Klein's like, "It's mine, bro." The moment he finished speaking, he already knew the answer. "It's mine." Klein smiled in a gentle-like fashion. As expected to watch over me, Danitz fell asleep. Klein paced on the carpet in the room and said while pointing to the door, "Come with me downstairs." Alright, Danitz was a little lost and sure what the man was up to. The adventurer and the famous pirate duo soon arrived at the second-class cabins and found Klein's original room. After opening the door, Klein didn't enter. He pointed inside and said to Danitz, "Tidy the things on the desk and put them in the suitcase." "What? Tidy things? You want me to help tidy things?" Danitz was almost done. In the blink of an eye, he felt a surge of anger rush to the top of his head. How can I, Blazing Danitz, Vice Admiral Iceberg's 4th boatswain, a famous pirate with a bounty of 3,000 pounds, be driven like a servant? Kleinsberg? Wait, I actually don't get it. I actually don't get the joke. A guy gets fed to creeping hunger and you think that of me? No, I'm not in danger, Melissa. I am the danger. My dignity and my reputation wouldn't allow me to accept such humiliation. Klein gave him a cold look when he saw the blazing Danitz standing with motionless like a petrified statue. Danitz's body suddenly trembled. He took a deep breath and replied with a smile which looked worse than crying. Alright. Aggrieved, he bent over to enter the cabin and he didn't have a very high ceiling. Swiftly putting the item that were scattered outside into the suitcase without needing Klein to remind him, he placed things in order, even more carefully than how he dealt within his own luggage. After doing all this, he carried the suitcase and followed Klein upstairs. Along the way, he always had the impulse to sneak attack the man's back, but in the end, he held back. He got lucky. After returning to room 312, Danitz clenched his teeth, swallowed his saliva, and said, "How should I address you, GEHRMAN Sparrow?" Klein responded succinctly. GEHRMAN Sparrow, as I read that wrong. Danitz ruminated over the name inwardly, swearing that he would definitely not forget what had happened today. He vowed to let the man before him have a taste of something similar in the future. Captain will definitely help me, he thought with anticipation. For the sake of his persona, Klein didn't choose the reclining chair. Instead, he randomly chose a hard wooden chair to sit down on. He leaned back in the chair, his body slightly hunched as he clasped his hands together and said to Blazing Danitz, "Tell me about the famous pirates you know of." "There are a lot of them," Danitz replied, feeling somewhat stumped. He stood where he was, afraid to move like a servant. Klein slowly curled his lips and said, Do it in accordance with the bounties." With that, he pointed to the chair opposite him. "Have a seat." With a sigh of relief, Danitz hurriedly sat down. He suddenly felt that the man wasn't too bad. He was at least willing to give him a seat. Ooh. The what? Ooh? Why did I say it like that? What do you think of GEHRMAN bullying pirates? I love it. I'm all for it. He's a little bit meaner than Luffy, but he's definitely gonna put a pirate crew together. So I'm down for that. The Whitegate sailed out into the open sea and moved at the speed of 13 knots. I don't even know how fast that is. Move at a speed of 13 knots until noon. I assume that's a moderate speed. But I love GEHRMAN Sparrow. I can see why there's so much fan art of him. Like, I get it. I get why there's so much fan art of him. Blazing the Nits, whose mouth was going dry from all the talk, was finally permitted to stop. He took his ticket and led Klein to the first-class dining restaurant. The restaurant was decorated elegantly with violinists playing in the corner and barriers separating the tables to ensure the privacy of one's dining environment. After walking a few steps, Klein met Donna's family and Cleves. They occupied a large table and were waiting for the waiter to serve the dishes. Uncle Sparrow, because of their shared secret, the little boy Denton had changed the way he addressed them. Donna blinked, fully expressed her doubts. She clearly remembered that Uncle Sparrow lived in a second-class cabin and was surprised to be in a restaurant. Cleves waved his hand with a smile as he greeted, and he pointed at the Nits and said, "He's treating, is that so?" He's paying. Donna sized up the Nits curiously and felt that the gentleman looked odd, especially his eyebrows, which looked extremely unnatural, because he dyed them. Cleves put down his fork and knife, and after 2 seconds of silence, he asked, "Your friend?" Klein chuckled and turned his head to the Nits. "What do you think the answer should be?" The Nits gritted his teeth and he forced a smile. "GEHRMAN once saved me." "Yes, that's right. Otherwise, I might have already been killed by him for the..." "That's true. He did save him because he spared him." "Yes, that's right. Otherwise, I might have already been killed by him for the sake of claiming the bounty." The Nits consoled himself. Cleves licked the Nits up and down a few times and said nothing more. Passing the Donna family, Klein found a table by the window. The waiter came with a great enthusiasm and handed over the menu. Charcoal steak, red wine, foie gras, vegetable salad. The Nits scanned the menu and couldn't help but sigh. Ships that dock for resupplying every 2 to 3 days or better. There's plenty of fresh food. When you encounter a ship that floats on the sea of 1 to 2 weeks, you can only cycle between beer, cured meat, and various canned goods. It's so monotonous that it drives you crazy. However, the sea itself will also provide fresh food, but this requires one to have sufficient judgment. We'll have a sailor on our ship who once had a beautiful lobster only to suffer diarrhea until his ass nearly ... That's not good. As a pirate, he had the habit of using vulgar language for descriptions, but after looking at GEHRMAN Sparrow's expression, he changed his vocabulary. Suffered diarrhea until his ass nearly fell off. Okay. I have reason to suspect that there were other factors. Although your captain is a woman, there should be very few women in the crew. Furthermore, with the sailors unable to get ashore for a long period of time, they must be thirsty. Klein silently lampooned, took the menu, and drew a line according to the price. All of these? Damn! This dude's robbing him. Alright, the waiter's expression didn't change at all. At that moment, Klein saw Captain Ellen enter the dining room and pass by, so he simply greeted him. When he looked back, he saw that Blazing the Nits was already looking out the window as if he was watching the scenery. "The captain knows you," Klein asked in a tone close to a statement. The Nits let out a hollow chuckle. "We fought his crew back when he was the boatswain of Wilhelm V. Besides, I am also considered a quite famous pirate." At this point, the Nits recalled his current situation and suddenly became depressed. Hence, he changed the topic. "I've always wondered why just Ellen would suddenly quit the Navy. By then, he was already an arbiter?" Wait, what sequence is arbiter? Oh, that's 9. No, wait. Arbiter. Yeah, the arbiter pathway. Right? Oh my god, wait. Right? 9. Yeah. Not 9. The arbiter pathway is 9. Damn, I thought, hold up. Yeah, arbiter. Then it was sheriff. Oh my god, I'm forgetting the pathways. Light supplicant. No. Oh my god. Sheriff, thank you. So we remember 8. I don't remember 9. It's not light supplicant. Damn. Okay, so my memory hasn't slipped yet. Okay, I need to finish updating these notes. We're like a little over 110, 115 chapters behind, but we're good. We're still good. Laugh Mouse, I have all the memorized. We're working on it. 500 chapters in, we're still working on it. All right, chapter 504 is called Red Skull Pirate Crew. A Beyonder was allowed to leave the fleet. Without the Nit's deliberate explanation, Klein easily understood why he found it strange. And a Nighthawks team, even if the civilian staff would experience strict restrictions, even a normal registration would require them to sign a lifelong confidentiality agreement. They weren't allowed to leave the Nighthawks team area that they originally belonged to, and once they were approved to move to another state, they had to immediately register at the local Evernight Church. For such rules, it could be seen that the official treated Beyonder's powers and related matters, a Beyonder who had drunk a potion would be able to leave their organization so easily. Wouldn't be able to leave their organization so easily. Klein clearly remembered that Miss Justice initially had the means and channels to become a Beyonder, but she didn't attempt them. The reason given was that she didn't want to lose her freedom. Similar solutions ran through his mind, but he didn't become words because the polite but cold GEHRMAN Sparrow wouldn't be interested in such rumors. So what? Klein looked at the tableware on the table and calmly asked, "Do you know how to make conversation?" Blazing the net secretly drew a breath and squeezed out a smile. I just found it strange. We all suspected that he had joined MI9 and he was just using his identity as a captain to monitor the sea routes. It's possible. Klein picked up a glass of water and took a sip. The dishes he ordered were served by one according to their type. The restaurant even gave him 2 complimentary cups of sweet, bubbling, and light gold premium wine. Klein stopped talking and concentrated on enjoying the food, feeling that it was indeed much better than the second-class dining room. The melodious tunes of a violin resonated amidst the sounds produced from the slight contact between the cutlery and plates. The blue and open sea outside the window rippled quietly, and everything seemed perfect. As Klein was about to be served dessert, a crewman came stomping in and ran the table where old Elend was sitting. "Captain, there's a pirate ship already." He didn't suppress his voice. Most of the passengers were shocked and stopped eating. Oh shit. Klein looked up, looked across him and Ditz with his eyes dark and cold. Blazing Ditz stiffed for a second and then he smiled bitterly. He lowered his voice and said, "If I were to say that this has nothing to do with me, will you believe me?" Klein's eyelids twitched as he slowly smiled. Guess, you son of a bitch." The Nitz was so fierce that he almost cursed. He maintained his smile and said, "Your wisdom is enough to judge everything." At that moment, Ellen quickly asked what the situation. He stood up and said to the panicking first-class passengers, "There's only one pirate ship. We have enough power to deal with them. Ladies and gentlemen, please return to your rooms in an orderly manner and await the arrival of good news. Believe me, the damage caused by the chaos far exceeds whatever damage those pirates can do. I don't wish to hear rumors in the future that although we, the White Gate, had succeeded in repelling the pirates, a handful of passengers had fallen and injured themselves. Under his arrangements and with the support of the crew, Don and the others left the dining room and returned to their own cabins, which included Klein and Blazing the Nits. I thought you were going to temporarily take over the White Gate and try to keep it safe from harm." The Nits commented inside room 312 as he closed the door and thought he was watching him play. To be able to immediately throw out the olive branch and talk about creeds and remuneration after finding a suitable candidate showed that he was an extroverted boatswain who liked to talk with others. Klein glanced at him, then went to the window and looked out. He saw a large ship with a red skull flag. This is Hive. Oh, the plot thickens, dude. I really hope Klein sinks the ship with one air bullet, and then that's it. It'd be really funny if that's all it takes. The chicken plots indeed. I thought, and I've reread this, to be able to merely throw out, I've read this. Klein glanced at him, then went to the window. I have read this too. He saw a large ship with a red skull flag fluttering as it cursed towards them. There were chimneys and sails. Know them. Klein held his hands in his pockets, stood behind a thick glass window. The Nitz walked to a spot diagonally behind him. After looking into the distance for 2 seconds, he said, "Red Skull, a small, medium band of pirates. The captain is Seawolf Johnson with a bounty of only 900 pounds. Bro's air bullets and all that. I mean, we'll see. Well, don't forget, since he's a higher sequence, technically all his abilities enhanced, right? If it's just a wooden ship, I think we can do some damage. Username. He's gonna blah, blah, and then it sinks, and that's it. The first mate is the one-eyed Anderson with a bounty of... Who are these weaklings, bro? The Nits had a bounty of 3,000. These little schmucks have 900 and 500? Get out of here. The first mate is one-eyed Anderson with a bounty of 500 pounds. In the pirate world, a bounty was an important reference point to be determined one's status and standing. Considering that he didn't have the ability to move underwater adeptly, it would be easy to have innocents die if he allowed the pirates to board the ship. Klein was silent for a few seconds before he asked, "Do they know you?" Of course, the Nits instantly straightened his back. They're qualified to participate in distinguished gatherings between pirates. I once kicked them in the ass. As expected, a famous pirate worth 3,000 pounds. Klein asked without changing expression, "Do they have binoculars?" Bro is... I don't even know what that is. It was Paul, not me. Wooden ships are sturdier than you think. Really? I mean, how sturdy? If he was shooting at Father Utrovsky's head and did somewhat damage towards a Dom Paladin, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Maybe I'm hyping up GEHRMAN SPARROW a little too much. I mean, we'll see. Do they have binoculars? That's an essential item. Even if a ship is placed under control, there will be sailors standing on the observation deck, using binoculars to observe the surroundings to prevent any surprise attack. Denitz replied scornfully. He could finally tell that this dangerous fellow was a new adventurer, and it was very likely that this was his first time at sea. Was he a famous bounty hunter, a member of a secret organization? Denitz subconsciously guessed GEHRMAN SPARROW's past. During such times, while the captain and the first mate used their binoculars to observe us, Klein originally wanted to address them as 900 pounds and 500 pounds, but he found it a bit impolite. Definitely, they had to keep track of the target. Denitz replied, slightly puzzled. He did understand GEHRMAN SPARROW's goal for asking such questions. From his point of view, if he had his powerful strength, he definitely would have allowed the Red Skull pirates to approach, find an opportunity to board their ship, and then eliminate everyone. Klein tilted his head and looked at Denitz before revealing a gentlemanly and warm smile. That's good. What do you want to do? Don't smile like that. Denitz suddenly panicked and summoned the courage to fight back. Take off your wig, Klein calmly ordered. I think I misused the support, but you get what I mean? I get what you guys mean. Let's keep going, man. The Denitz was puzzled, and he's like, no, don't show them who I am. The Denitz was puzzled as he slowly removed the wig from his head. Klein took out a special bottle of extract from his secret pocket and handed it over. Wipe your eyebrows, face... He's like, show them who you are. Wipe your eyebrows and face clean. This was a mystical makeup... He has a mystical makeup removal extract he had prepared before advancing to Faceless. He had used this when attacking the Wraith from the Rose School of Thought. Although Klein no longer needed it anymore, he had been reluctant to throw it away. Denitz was even more confused. However, he was unwilling to throw himself into an irreversible situation unless he was ready to attack physically. He had no choice but to do as he was told, removing the disguise on his face and restoring his original appearance. Putting away the small metal bottle, Klein opened the window and let the sea breeze pour in. Stand here and look outside. He pointed directly behind the window instead of blazing Denitz. Denitz warily walked over to Daze and stood firmly behind the window. Klein observed for a few seconds. Then he calmly said, you have two choices. One, crawl out and hang there in an eye-catching manner. Two, do you get held by the collar by me and hung there in an eye... You either make yourself look pathetic or I make you look pathetic. You have two choices. One, crawl out and hang there in an eye-catching manner. Two, you get held by the collar by me and hung there in an eye-catching manner. I love it. I fucking love GEHRMAN SPARROW. No wonder there's so much fan art. I love Denitz. What do you want to do? Denitz blurted out. Klein revealed his ambitious smile again. Show you to the pirates. I believe Vice Admiral Iceberg Fortune Boatswain holds sufficient weight to persuade them to retreat. No, don't do that. Denitz subconsciously rejected the notion. So then it makes them look weaker. He could imagine what the people from the Red Skull pirate crew would think when they discovered him. Either Blazing Denitz had been captured and there was a very terrifying powerhouse on the ship, or the ship was already being targeted by Vice Admiral Iceberg and the other pirates were immediately keeping their distance. And the way I'm hung up decides which thought they would have. Oh. Klein smiled even more gently. I'm a very easy person to get along with, really, as long as you do as I tell you. At this moment, Denitz once again felt the indescribable sense of hunger. He felt as if his flesh and soul could be torn from his body at any moment. Damn, man, creepy hunger be scaring them, dude. Like the aura? After weighing the pros and cons for a second, he half raised his hand, gritted his teeth, and smiled. I'll fucking do it myself. What's that one shit from Goofy? I'll do it myself. Holding back his anger and grievance, Denitz turned and climbed out the window. Using his balance and strength from years of experience, he hung himself off the cabin with his forearm. Don't try to escape, I'm not a patient man. Klein's face turned cold and gently reminded Phew. Denitz resisted the urge to release his forearm and jumped straight down. On a pirate ship in the distance, the crew responsible for observing the wider gate sent a message to Seawolf Johnson. Boss, there's a weird guy hanging out of the window over there. Johnson was stunned for a second. He raised his binoculars and placed it in front of his eyes. He quickly discovered the strange fellow from his subordinate was talking about the man position was simply too eye-catching. Isn't that Blazing Denitz? Johnson's brows eyes twitched as he recognized the man. How did he get on the wider gate? What's the meaning of him hanging outside? This is Vice Admiral Iceberg's prey. After a series of questions, Seawolf came to a conclusion. He raised his right hand and said, everyone take note, stay far away from this area immediately. And it literally worked just like that. In room 305, Cleve stood by the window with a revolver gripped tightly in his hands as a precaution against a potential sea skirmish. Klein smiled even more gently. I'm a very easy person to get along with, really, as long as you do as I tell you. At this moment, Denitz once again felt an indescribable sense of hunger. He felt as if his flesh and soul could be... Did I scroll up or scroll down? What the... And I scrolled up. That's so weird. In room 305, Cleve stood by the window with a revolver gripped tightly in his hand as a precaution against a potential sea skirmish. Donna's family was a little... Oof. Bros in a loop. I was in one of those... I was literally in the city of Silver Loop. Yeah, no, my bad. The chapter didn't repeat itself. Bro, you went back? No, I scrolled up by accident. Donna's family was a little frightened. They didn't return to the I'm in the loop. They didn't return to the respective bedrooms, but they instead sat in the living room, waiting for the bombardment to begin. Cecile and the other T-guards stood guard beside them, fully alert. At this moment, a look of confusion appeared in Cleve's slightly aged eyes. After a few minutes, he took a step, lowered his muzzle, and said to the people, "The pirates have left." What? This development left Erdy, Branch, and the others surprised and confused. They had no idea what the pirates were thinking. Room 312. Blazing, the Nits crawled back, and he couldn't help but give a snort. "You're borrowing my captain's reputation. She really hates these kinds of things. Just wait for Vice Admiral Iceberg to teach you a lesson." The Nits thought angrily. Klein quietly listened and asked, "I remember her reward in Lowen was 26,000 pounds. What? Bro in the temple with Lil Sun or Ouroboros in play?" I mean, we'll see what's going to happen with... I'm really kind of like curious to see what happens with the whole Ouroboros thing that was set up at the end of Volume 2. This madman, the Nits couldn't find the words to respond. I fucking love GEHRMAN Sparrow. Wait, shut up. Really? Dude, that is so fucking cool. Wait, so this is the Blood Emperor looking at Azik from the flashback, right? This is it? It's from the flashback? Oh, that is so cool, dude. That is so... Don't look at things above? You mean like this? Okay, I won't do that. I won't do that. Do not open the spoiler I sent. Those were for the people. Okay, so... Would it be a spoiler if we undo it for... Okay, no, we won't do that on the recording. So, this is the Blood Emperor looking at Azik in his flashback. Yeah, or when he unlocked his memories. Dude, what the f is that on Azik's head? It's his crown? Oh, that is so freaking cool. This is so sick. This is so cool. What the fuck is this? Wait. Don't tell me yet. Oh, wait. It says it right here. Before I read it. Blood Emperor and Azik. Blood Emperor and Black Emperor pick provided by Cammy. Okay. Dude, this is hype. This is so sick, dude. Mr. GEHRMAN Sparrow flipping the coin. Oh, this was what we just read when he disappeared, right? And he just started listening in on anything. Look at the size comparison to the cities shown under them. No way I missed that. This man's bigger than any of the buildings. Right? Wait, I'm sorry. What is this? Next one is an untranslated comic meeting between the Nits and GEHRMAN. Wait, I'm sorry. So is this right here like a door? Or like what am I looking at right here? What is that? Yeah, those small things are buildings? The aura. So this is the aura of the black. So the Black Emperor is human size, but his like presence is like a freaking skyscraper. Oh wait, I know it did say it right there. So it's the Black Emperor. So the Black Emperor is right here. For some reason, I thought this was like a summoning door that he had, but no. So the Blood Emperor is like actually like a giant monolith, behemoth-looking thing. This is Azik when he was fighting with his dad. And then this is the Black Emperor. Dude. So this... Okay. This is what we read today. Wait. What is this? Wait, what is this? Is that like actual... Wait, hold up. Okay, I thought this was like original. So this is fan art. Okay, so it won't be copyrighted, right? But we can like say who it is. So it's the sample Aileen. No production. So we're not producing, we're reacting. So I think it's okay, right? The official comics barely adapted volume 1, bro. That is true. Yeah, we are Yeah, it's true. So wait, is this... Who did we say this was again? Sorry. Low bit memory. Who was it? Is this? No, they're just that effing good at artists. Yeah, dude, everybody's really good though. I'll tell you that much. The Nits? Oh yeah. The Nits is the Nits is definitely gonna be a fan favorite character this volume. Fuck, they're killing him. I don't like him. I don't like him. They're gonna kill him. I don't like him. Who is he? Just kill him already. Get it over with. I don't want to go a whole volume falling in love with another character and then you kill him off when I started like just holy app. Just kill him already. I'm not gonna fall for it. I'm not falling for him. He's too much of a likable character already. Like, we love to bully him, and no. Clip that out of context? No. Just take him out already. I'm not falling for this. No, I'm not gonna fall in love with another character and then just get my heart broken. Read what I said? It's more symbolic representation, art of Black Emperor, Blood Emperor. Okay. Like, his aura is just that menacing, right? I'm lurking, a bit busy right now. No, it's okay, Vec. There's way too much fan art of this dude. There's way... I was low-key having too much fun when Clang was messing around with the Nits. No. Fuck you guys. Wait, I don't mean fuck you guys, but... Fuck this. No. I'm not doing this. There's way too much fan art of these bros. No. I'm not falling for this shit. No. Fucking Cuttlefish. He's gonna fucking do it again, is he? So go follow this person. Like, it's hard to read it. If you check the aura of the Black Emperor, you can see it forms a tower representing his palace. Oh. Represents his palace and emperor role and a sword representing his strength. The sword? You can... It forms a tower representing his palace and emperor role and... Oh. These artists are fucking mad lads, bro. But dude, there's too much unauthorization. Yeah, so we cannot redistribute this. We're only reacting. No, but there is way too much fan art, man. No. He's dead. Oh yeah, he's definitely... What's this person's name? Cyberbard? Cyberbard has amazing ass artwork already. I'm loving this. Is he the big blood emperor is also symbolic size? Oh, so this is a symbolic representation. Like, it's showing you like how strong his like presence, his aura is. Or like that's what it felt like when Azik was going up against him. That's fucking hype. I'm so excited to see all these crazy biblical fights happen. It looks a bit like Trigger style. You know what? You're right. But you know what this reminds me of? This kind of reminds me like the new Trigon Stampede if it was like hand-drawn. It kind of reminds me of Trigon Stampede for whatever reason. But this is cool, dude. Oh no, the Nets, man. Oh no. Is he playing a harmonica? I played a harmonica for a bit. Shit, I used to know. I played a harmonica for a bit. I had my own harmonica. I messed around with one. So I already relate to this, man. Yeah, that's what that's what they were thinking about with Trigon. Blood Emperor power is aura farming. Fuck, everybody's aura farming. Bro. Oh wait, Abby, was that spoiler? No, it's okay. So somebody was aura farming. It's okay. No, don't worry. I didn't read the whole thing. I forgot what I read already. That, you see, that's the one benefit of low bit memory. No, man, there's too much fan art of this guy. People like this character a little too much. And I don't know how to feel about that. This one's funny. Not really spoiler. I can't wait to delete. No, it's okay. Maybe it's like hinting something if I think about it too much. I don't know how to feel, man. There's a little bit too much fan art on this fan favorite character. We cannot repost her art. Oh, what does that mean, repost? Like, you can't download and re-upload it as yours, right? That's what they meant? Bro has PTSD. I'm not falling for this shit, man. Don't like things not from today? I bet. This one's funny. Okay, so... He's clearly gonna join the crew. Wow. You know who he looks like right here? Nanambi. right? That was his name from Jujutsu Kaisen, Nanambi. Just posting it on socials. Yeah, so we can do that, but we can react to it. Got it, got it. With that much art, he's either stick until the end or gets brutally murdered in the next 10 chapters. You know what, man? Knowing Cuttlefish, I don't know, man. We either... Nanami, yeah. He does look like him, right? But clearly he's... Wait. No, we're not gonna get into spoilers. So he's not gonna have... Okay, zero spoilers. I'm just saying somebody else might have Nanami's fate. I found a Harry Potter fan art that looked like GEHRMAN. Oh, send it. Stream is ending. Yeah, we're gonna end stream in a bit, so we're just going through fan art. Wait, if you have that, send it. Let's take a look. It's already overload, bro. This is so cool. This one is sick. Oh, I remember we've looked at this one before. I remember we looked at this. Feed me, master. Did you draw this unhinged? Wait, that's cool, dude. I remember seeing this one. I've seen this one before. Yeah, I've seen this one. This one, he's literally Mr. Bloodborne. Yeah. Username sent me this earlier. I just didn't take a look at it yet. Put all the content up here. So, okay, I clearly need to adjust my aspect ratio. One second. The names of the places are also there. HP is fine. Hell Street. Yo, what's up? Thank you for joining. Hall Street. Hall Street. Fuck is Hall Street? Was this back in Tingen? Raphael Cemetery? Okay. This was a cemetery at the end of Volume 1, right? Raphael? Zotlin Street? Yeah, look at that. 15 Zotlin Street. There you go. Remember when I was saying Daffodil Street instead of Daffodil Street? Please tell me there's Daffodil. St. Selena Cathedral. Oh, this is good. Oh, just a little late. Yeah, we had to end the stream. Yeah, we're just looking at fan art right now. I'm not fan art. This is official artwork, right? Concept art. For the mobile game or the Dunghua? For what was it? I'm sorry, I forgot for what was it. For the Dunghua or the mobile game? This is wild, though. But this is St. Selena? Damn. This is so impressive. Klein's bedroom. Wealthy version. Oh, look at the picture. This is for the Dunghua. Oh. Look at them. Look at Bets and Melissa. Oh, I'm so emotional just thinking about that, man. Damn. Fuck, man. This series gets me, man, in some type of way. This shit gets me all sad. So, hold up. Is the Dunghua being officially released now, or is it still in that trial state? Like, do I start reading it now, or do I wait a little bit? Wait, I didn't read what a hint said in case it was a spoiler. Like, can I start reading? Oh, wow, I went too far back. Like, can I start reading this now, or not yet? Wait for the Dunghua? When was it published? Yeah, because I know there was a whole trial phase. Like, I don't know if I can read it now, and we read it bi-weekly. Dunghua, not manga. Oh, my bad. Oh! I was thinking manhwa. My bad. Woo! Damn, my bad, guys. Hold up, I was joking. He meant the manhwa version. Manhwa is the real version. Got it. Is in real version? The anime is not out yet. Yeah, my bad. I was thinking of the manhwa. You guys were saying Dunghua, and I was interpreting that as manhwa for some reason. My bad. So I guess because I've been used to seeing anime for like a decade at this point. I've been saying anime. Now I'm telling you, the only Dunghua I've ever watched was coincidentally King's Avatar by the same studio. Coincidentally, that's the only Dunghua I've ever watched. Damn. This is beautiful. Daffodil Street. Remember when I said Daffodil Street? That's so cringe, man. So this is Daffodil Street. Bro, man, I am so hyped for the Dunghua, man. Oh my god. This is where we first encounter Azik. I'm out of the loop. The refined version of the manhwa isn't translated yet. Okay, so so it's still like in the test phase. Damn. History department office? This is the history department and Koi University? Oh, what is this? What the fuck? This is Klein's house, poor version. Oh, okay. Oh, you see the book? This is where the original Klein wrote down. Oh no, it's right here. This is where the original client wrote down his last statement, which we still don't know what it meant. It's not text phase? Okay. So it's not in the final phase. It's daffodil. It's daffodil. I used to say Daffodil Street, but it's literally daffodil. Okay. No, man, it isn't officially released, but it's in Chinese. Got it. Got it. Damn. Iron Cross Street. I forgot where Iron Cross Street was. Oh, wow. Look how beat up it is, though. You know what was the one wild thing I saw? Okay, don't get mad. I'm gonna name drop it because I know some people are very indifferent about this anime. But I saw solo leveling takes about a year to make an episode, right? And it said the final episode, episode 12, had 17,000 frames. And apparently all 30 minutes of each episode for season 1 for Lord of the Mysteries is 30,000 frames. That is so fucking wild. Bro, like, it's crazy. Like, if it's genuinely 30,000 frames, like, they have been working, bro. They've probably been working their ass off on this Donghua, bro. Yeah, they ain't playing around. That's wild, bro. And once again, So Lovely makes appearance on stream. I know. It somehow always ends up on stream. Hey, I like it. I know people don't like it, but I like it. But it's crazy. The last episode had its LO team. Yeah, it clearly it does, man. I fucking love it. I love Lord of Mysteries. It clearly deserves it. And I really hope it gets the praise, deserve, recognition, and it gets the same amount of hype. I think it will. I think it really will get the same amount of hype Solo Leveling got. I don't know if I'm coping, but I really think it will. Because it's crazy, because there are more and more people finding out about Lord of Mysteries. I know it's huge, right? And like on China's side, but I really hope it gets the same recognition like over here, you know? I'm hoping. Unfortunately, this quality means we'll have a 2-year break. Dude, don't say that, man. No, they're probably working on it back to back. Perfect idea. Instead of reading all to him, let's replace it with daily Solo Leveling glazing stream. Oh, well, hello there. I just hope that SL fans don't come on. Yeah, I see, and that's the one thing you see a lot in anime. I'm not saying every fandom, but there's always like people are like, oh, mine is better than this, thus this is bad, you know? And I'm really hoping that doesn't happen with Lord of Mysteries. And I'm not name calling anything. I just really hope there aren't people like trash talking it, like, just like, all this work for what? For a dude walking in the streets? No, like I really hope this gets the same amount of hype and praise that, like, you know, like a really popular anime does. Like a really popular anime this year was Free Rent. Everybody talked about Free Rent. Everybody loves Free Rent. I love Free Rent. I think Free Rent is really good. That one, a lot of people say that was also anime of the year. A lot of people say like Soul Leveling is anime of the year, or like Free Rent's anime of the year. I forgot what else came out this year. I'm trying to think. I clearly didn't watch that much anime this year, but I'm hoping Lord of Mysteries is like in that same conversation for anime of the year. That's what I'm hoping for. Hopefully Free One and One Piece fans will come together through and support Tibet. Yeah, Tibet. Yeah, we can't forget about the beginning after that. Yeah, hopefully Free Run and One Piece fans. Man, One Piece has been killing it, man. I've been seeing some snippets here and there. To Be a Hero got some rep from Dunkwaz. I've seen a few clips. I think I got spoiled. I saw one scene I probably shouldn't have seen. Tibet. You know, I'm talking about the manhwa. I love the manhwa. I think we'll leave it there though. I'm hyped. I'm excited. Look at that. Look at the carnival. So this is literally the beginning of the series, right? So this is all gonna happen in episode 1. He's gonna walk in here. He's gonna run into the seer. Like, oh, do your divination. Like, oh, I'm actually a beast tamer. Ooh, it's gonna be good. And you know what'd be crazy? If we see a very specific character walking around in the background. Like, what if we just see, like, Megoose walking around back here, right? She's just walking here, and there's a certain bad character walking around back here, too. I think that'd be wild. It'd be wild in the first episode. You see characters that you, like, won't, like, it'd be kind of wild if we see characters in episode 1, and we won't know about, like, their significance until, like, a lot later. First episode starts with a flash for the Megoose fight, by the way. I'm sorry, has that been revealed? They changed pacing to catch the anime audience. You know what? And I think that's a good call. Because I feel like we can all agree. Wow, I should have ended stream 15 minutes ago, but it's okay. I feel like we can all agree that its pacing was a little slow in the beginning, right? And I think that's a good call. If they add some of that in the beginning in order to hype up people for the end. It's kind of like in Fire Emblem. Remember how the beginning of Fire Emblem Awakening, it starts with the end, and then you gotta play the game so you can see that ending like fully fleshed out. No wonder it was in the fucking trailer. We have the full events for episode 1 leaked. Actually, hold up. I don't want to know. I don't want to know that. Actually, hold up. I actually don't want to know anything else. That's it. I don't want to know timelines. I don't want to know nothing. Plus, they made extra episodes with side stuff to make pacing better. Okay, see, that's good. I really hope we get a Monaco in the background. Some random dude walking around with Monaco. That'd be kind of wild. The first pilot chapters were redrawn. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Yeah, man. Imagine you see fucking Amon just walking around back there like, oh, hey, don't mind me. You won't see me till like season 2 in a few years. That'd be so fucking funny, dude. No, that's not gonna happen. That'd be fucking wild. The first pilot chapters were redrawn and the mistakes were corrected. Like the Pocket Watch. Oh, that's cool. I'm sorry, what? Username is helping the unofficial translation team? Really? They are translated, at least should be, I hope. They didn't even fix the watch properly. We'll see what happens. I'm really hopeful. I think if they add like that final fight in the beginning of the episode, it's gonna draw in a lot more people. And no, that's what I was trying to say earlier. It makes perfect sense why they showed the fucking Magoose fight in like the second trailer, or was it like the first trailer? Because that's clearly gonna be stuff that is drawn out in the beginning, or it's gonna be shown in episode 1. Okay, that's cool. That's kind of exciting. They're probably gonna add in some stuff. I know people mentioned their side stories on characters, right? So I assume we might get some of that. The watch is fixed in the official site now, I think. Oh. Alright, well, we're gonna leave it there. I'm gonna let you guys go. We'll be back tomorrow for about another 2 hours. Wait, no, I lied. Tomorrow's stream is probably gonna be unannounced because I have to try and get an appointment out of the way. So if that doesn't happen, I'll stream. But if it does happen, I probably won't stream. Well, bye, guys. Well, bye. Take care. And I'll see you guys all very soon. Cuttlefish himself said the author notes that in Volume 1 pacing could have been better. Oh. I don't remember if he said it could have been better. I feel like maybe he said he could have fleshed it out more. One stream. If it's not Tuesday, it's Wednesday.